All right, guys, we've got guidance steering officially for Farming Simulator 22 is now available. In this video, we're going to be talking all about it. We're going to show you how to use it, what it's good for, and why you need to get it. Let's be honest, it's a fantastic mod. We're going to need to talk about exactly how it works, though. So if you're new to this, let's dive into this thing. So once again, this is the guidance steering mod, also known as the GPS mod for Farming Simulator 22, which is a revamp or an update from Farming Simulator 19. This is all done by Wobster. The exact same mod from 19 is pretty much updated and put into 22. And now you can see we've got it activated. Everything looks good. It works just the way you would expect. Now we are, like I said, we also have a new mod called the Vehicle Control Add-on mod, which worked out pretty well as well. Very similar to this. However, this has a few more bells and whistles, a little more realistic. We're going to talk, well, let's compare both of them for one. Firstly, note, of course, both of these mods, guys, you need to be on PC or Mac. These are not available on console. Once again, I'm sorry, like I said, I don't make the rules, I just play by them. And also note that the Vehicle Control Add-on and the Guidance Steering mod, well, they will work in tandem. They do work together. There's nothing wrong with either of them. They can work. They don't seem to conflict with each other, so that's kind of a nice thing to have there. So what are the differences? Well, if we look here over at our guidance steering mod, you're going to see we have a bunch of settings, of course. One of the big settings, headland management. So this mod will know where you are in your field and know when you're getting to the edge of the field. So it knows that kind of stuff. Whereas the vehicle control add-on mod, guys, it's simply a vector lock or a heading lock. So if we go down in here into our locking angles, all this does is it knows what angle it wants to lock us at, and it'll allow you to keep on driving at that angle and lock the steering at that angle. That's all it does, and it allows it to move over one at a time through a field. Now, the other big difference, well, if you get the guidance steering mod, guys, it's not in every tractor. So you need to buy it. The vehicle control add-on mod, it is everywhere. It's in every single piece of equipment, regardless of what it is. So you hop into a truck, into a tractor, into anything, a forklift, you're going to have vehicle control add-on. You can lock it in. You get into a tractor, it may not be there. For example, this 4755 right here, no GPS. So that means we need to buy it and put it into this piece of equipment. Now, if you have bought a new piece of equipment from the store, you can put it in right there. If you have to install it in something you already own, well, you can do that from any of your mobile repair stations. You simply go in, and then you'll see that there's a new icon, a new option to select GPS. Now, GPS on every single piece of equipment will be 15,000. It's free on this one because I've already installed it once, but every other piece of equipment you bring in here, if you need to install GPS in it, it's going to cost you $15,000. Now, like I said, it's not much use in anything but tractors or combines, that kind of stuff, something you're going to be using in the field. You don't want it on a truck or trailer units or tractor trailers. Let's avoid that. But for any kind of tractors, it's going to cost you 15 grand. It doesn't change your visuals at all. It just adds you the option of activating it in the menus. So now that we've purchased it for the 4755, if you look down in the bottom right hand corner, you're going to see we have a new set of icons that have appeared. The top one there that's shaded out, guys, that's your headland. The middle one is the actual activation and connection to a satellite, and the bottom one is if guidance steering is enabled. So we can turn this on now. The first thing you're going to want to do once you have guidance steering in here to set it up is hit Alt-C. And that's going to turn it on. So you can see now we have the satellite and we have the headland. This is just turning it on so you can actually get into the settings. If you don't see those two blue lights, you can't even activate the settings. Now to get into the settings, you hit Control-S. And now we have the settings for the guidance steering mod. Now, one thing to note here, guys, I just hit the auto width button. And if you don't have anything connected to the back of your tractor, it's not going to work properly. Zero width, it thinks is the increments for the width of our equipment, of course, because there's nothing there. Let's go hook up to something. All right, so we've got our Lemkin cultivator hooked up to the back of the 4755. Let's go back into our menu now. And like I said, we were still at 0 feet. Let's go and hit auto width. And now it's going to calculate the width of the cultivator. That's of course going to be important when we're going back and forth in our field, so it knows what width the piece of equipment is that it wants to go side by side on, back and forth on. Makes sense. You can of course change this if you want. If you feel that this you want to overlap maybe some spots on a field, or you're worried about corners, you can shrink it down, you can make it bigger, whatever you want. Of course, you can change the increments on how much it's going up and down as well. So if you want to go by 3 feet, you can do that. If you want to go just by a couple quarters of an inch, you can do that as well. Auto width generally works out fairly well. Just make sure you try to stay in a straight line. If you have like a towed behind trailer of some sort when you're using this, it works out a little bit better. If you don't have it kind of on a corner or anything like that, just be aware of that. Now, let's go over to the far side here, our general settings. The first one, enable guidance steering, all that's doing, guys, is once you have your pathing set up, if you hit this to on, that's going to enable and force it to take control. That's what that's doing. There's a hotkey for this. We'll talk about that in a bit. Let's leave it off for now. Show lines. You guys saw the lines at the start. I will leave them on for so you guys can see exactly what's going on, but it makes it easier when you're spinning around as well, so you can see what the guidance steering is trying to do. We go down to our line offset. This one here is more for if you have a side mower or a piece of equipment that's off to one side. It will allow you to take that into account. And then of course you can change your offset down on this side. So if you're not happy with how it's working, the amount it's going offset, then yeah, just know that you can change that down here. Of course, snap terrain angle, that is the same as our VCA mod. We had that before. And then the offset reversal, so it will obviously change the pathing, so it automatically offsets on the opposite side when you flip around. You probably want that on if you're using a mower or a plow off the one side, like I said. Now, the new thing, headland management, that we don't have in VCA. So like I said, the guidance steering mod or GPS mod, it keeps track of where you are in the field, where the VCA mod just kind of locks you onto a heading. So the headland management mode, it will allow you to know or let you know when it's at the end of a field. It calculates where the fields are and automatically will let you know. Now, you're always going to get a chirp or a chime when you hit the end of a field, but what this will do, if you have this to on, so stop mode actually, if you have it to stop, if you have cruise control on, it will automatically stop the tractor. If cruise control is not on and you're controlling the throttle, you're gonna still be able to drive right on through the end of the field. But if you have it on stop mode and you use cruise control, it's automatically gonna stop the tractor at whatever the distance is away from the end of the field. And you can change the distance right here with this number. I don't know if this is meters or feet or what this is, but just know that lower is smaller, of course, or closer to the edge. For a cultivator this side, probably about 3 or 4 would probably be adequate. Now, there's two things that the stop mode actually does. So like I said, it'll disable cruise. Also, even if you do have the throttle control yourself, you're not on cruise, it will automatically turn the GPS unit off by itself once it gets to the end of the field if you have stop mode engaged. If you have it on off, it will just stay on. It's kind of like vectored mode almost, or the same as the VCA mode, where you're going to allow it's just going to keep on going. If you have cruise control set and it's going in a straight line, if headland mode is off and you're not paying attention, you're going to keep on driving straight through. It's going to stay locked onto that heading, and you're going to just keep on going. All right. Now, we have those settings all taken care of. That's the main page. Of course, if we go to our second page, we have a couple different options here as well. Now, it's going to default, of course, to AB straight is the strategy, and the line method is AB. There's two different options here. Now, this is a little bit different. We need to talk about these in a sec here. A plus heading is essentially the same as the VCA mod. So if you've been using that or you saw the video on that, this is the same thing. It's just locking you on a heading and you're going to drive in that heading. This one here is the default mode, and we're going to show you how to use this one. Now, you can save all your settings with this little tab right here if you want to save them. Just be aware you can do all that as well. So let's go give this a test and we'll show you how it all works. Now, of course, we should talk about why would you want to use this. And it's really about keeping lines straight and not wasting product. So if you're driving down a field, if you want to make sure you're not wasting any time, and you want to make sure you're not wasting any fertilizer, lime, seed, that kind of stuff, this is a great tool for that, because it's ensuring that you're maximizing the width of the equipment you're using, the implements you're using. It's maximizing that. So let's get this fired up. So we got the line on. You can see we have the one white line there. Now, in order to enable this, now we're on A to B, like I said. So in order to enable this, we're going to start off by lowering our cultivator down so it's ready to go. Now, you can see we're going to double check that our GPS is on. Like I said, Alt-C, that turns it on. So you can see we're enabling the satellite there. We're good to go. First thing you're going to do, Alt-E is the hotkey for this. And you hit this twice, and you're going to see now we have an A at the bottom of our tractor. Now, you can also do this in the menu where it said Set A. If we go back into our menu, you can hit Set A right here. Same thing. I'm just using the hotkey, which is Alt-E. Now, I'm going to drive forward, and it's asking me to drive forward 15 meters, I believe it is. And what you want to do is drive in a nice straight line on the direction you're going to be going. And I'm having a bit of a trial here. The tractor's a little light for this, but there we go. Get kind of where we want to be. We can look back. We can see the pathing that I want this to take. I'm going to go ahead and hit Alt-E once again and lock that in. Now, that's the pathing the GPS is going to take from what I've told it to do. Now, to enable this, guys, you can see down in the bottom right-hand corner, the steering wheel still is not lit up. I have to hit Alt-X. That's going to enable it. Alternatively, if we go back into our menu, we can see the Enable Guidance Steering. That is now set to on. That's hotkey is Alt-X to do this, or you can all come back to this menu if you wanted to. So now that it's enabled, guys, it knows, you can see we got a green line We got the blue lines for the outline of the implement, and it knows I want to go in this direction and stay on this heading. Works pretty good, not too bad. Now, how does it work when we flip around? Well, you're going to hear it's going to get a bit of a chime. We get to the edge of the field right there. And since we have the heading mode off, it should disable. If it did, we must not have it off. Okay, we must have it on. So now how do we turn this off? You can hit Alt X once again, or you can simply steer. As soon as you steer, it disables it, and now we're off. So you can see it's a white line again, so we are in control. Now once again, if I want to go back the other direction, so it's the lines are on the heading I want to go, basically. As soon as you see the lines on there, the GPS knows that's where we're going to go next. We can hit Alt X once again, and the tractor's automatically going to steer. I am not steering this whatsoever right now. This is all the GPS unit. It gets the line back up, and you're good to go. So you still have to do the corners and flip the tractor back around, but the GPS unit will handle the rest. Now, what about the other mode? Now, like I said, there's two different modes right here. We have line method AB, and then we have the A+ heading. So we're going to put the A+ heading just so you can see this. And this, like I said, is very similar to the VCA mode, the mod that we've been talking about before. And instead of having this, we're going to turn off the heading there. So we're back to just having it set off. Now, if I want to change a heading, say I want to go at an angle here. I have no idea what degrees are that. So roughly 285. So remember that. We're going to set the tractor up this direction right here. Now I'm going to hit Alt E again, and it's going to tell me, okay, well, which direction do you want this to go? And I'm going to go into the menu and say 285. Set that as a direction. Oh, look at that. That's the direction we're going to go now. Once again, I enable it by hitting Alt X, and there we're going to go that direction. So it's very similar to the VCA mod on that sense, guys. There's a few more button pushes, and there's not really a hotkey that will allow you to get past actually typing in the vector you want to go at. So if you're going to use that mode, I think you're better off to go with the VCA mode. But once again, there's some realism factors, of course, with the guidance steering that I can understand why people would rather go with that. Now, last but not least, and something I don't do enough to be honest, check the keyboard controls for this mod, as well as any kind of script mod you guys get, because there's a lot of things that this will do that maybe you don't know about that are hotkey available that you can change up that are more convenient for you. So for example, if you want, one thing I like to use actually is we can set our auto width. Alt R will auto width the equipment we're running with. Definitely recommend using that because that's a hotkey for sure you're going to want to use. Same with shifting your track left and right. Alt, page up, page down. That's super handy if you need to just shift everything over just a little bit. If you need to move like closer to a side of a field, whatever it might be, very handy to have that. Now, like I said, the vehicle control add-on mod has the exact same type of controls, and actually they all seem to work fairly well together with default. So just maybe start memorizing some of these if you plan on using these mods. But like I said, this one here, you've got to buy for each tractor. The VCA mod, it just comes blank, carte blanche for everybody. So there you have it. Which one were you actually going to be using? I'm kind of curious to see which one you guys will use. I think the guidance steering is definitely a little more technical. It's more realistic. But the VCA, it's very simple to get fired up and get going. So let me know down in the description. We'll put a poll down there. Which one will you use? Will you use the vehicle control add-on mod or the guidance steering on PC? Like I said, console players, I'm sorry you're out of luck on this one. Hopefully at some point we'll see something, but not for a bit. That's going to do it for this video, guys. Of course, make sure you guys come check us out in one of our live streams, roleplay videos, whatever else you come out, where we push the limits of farm sim to the absolute extreme. Hopefully we'll see you guys there at some point in time. Other than that, guys, have a great day. Drop down a comment. Do you have any questions or anything you want to know about this stuff? And I will chat with you guys next time. This is Klutch. Over and out.